Welcome to Cut the Check podcast with Craft Farmer, where we bring you the best guests and the most entertainment. I just watched the movie The Last Duel, which had Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in it. As you guys know, I love Vikings, knights, sword fighting, just so fucking raw and real and just crazy that's what we came from. You know, thinking today how we have it and how easy we have it compared to how it was, you know, a life of savagery. And my wife sometimes is like, oh, I wish we lived in that era and I wish we lived in that castle. I'm like, bitch, are you crazy? Fuck no, I don't want to live in that era. We live in the most amazing time there is. But it makes me start, you know, fantasizing and thinking about that, and just gives me chills to think about, you know, how it was and how raw it was, and sickness and fighting and cold, and, you know, America wasn't even discovered then. That's wild. So it was like all done in, you know, England and all the crazy places the Vikings were. I think Dana White says it a lot, where he's like, fighting's in our DNA. Like, it is. Like, everything we come from has to do with fighting, which is gnarly, because now, I mean, I can speak for myself, but I'm trying to come from a place of peace and respect, and respecting other people's opinions, their space, their thought process. Wild. Anyways, back to this movie, The Last Duel. I think the movie comes down to interpretation. And for instance, you know, they always say there's two sides to every story. I think that is because of interpretation. Like, something happens, and depending on how the person interprets it is going to be how that experience is and how that tale is told, you know? So two people have an experience. However, each one of those people interpret that experience for themselves is how they're going to replay it and tell it. It was a badass movie. I liked it. It was good. It's worth checking out. And it had my favorite shit in it. Sword fighting, brutality, knights. You guys will hear me compare things to, like, you know, when I go into my Viking feelings, like raid and pillage. Same with, like, you know, the knight mentality. Could you imagine dressing down, like getting ready for battle, putting on all your armor as the metal's clanking, and your chain link neck guards, sharpening your sword, getting your shield ready, your battle axes, your knives, all the crazy things that you need for hand-to-hand combat. What did they mentally go through, knowing that they're dressing down for war, you know, in a time where getting cut or slashed or stabbed could potentially be the end of your life, because there is no medicine system, there is no hospitals, there's no heat. You know, all these castles made out of brick and stone with no warmth. Even if you were the richest of the rich, it's still kind of a miserable experience if you think about it. Yeah, it might be nice to go back and play one day at a feast or something like that. I mean, the food probably wasn't even that good. You know, let's be real. They had very minimal spices and everything else. So you see those large feasts and those big tables where everybody's just going crazy. I suppose if that's the way the world was then, you don't think anything else of it. But I mean, every day to live in, let's say you're just a rancher and you live in a straw hut, like every day waking up thinking that you could be raided any moment is just wild. Absolutely wild. You know, when I think about that and I'm comparing what I do during the day to pillaging, and it's just that mentality of our forefathers and our ancestors, and we all come from that. If you think about evolution and how it continues to spread, and regardless of what your ethnicity is, that's what it comes back to, is a much simpler time, a time of savagery, a time of always taking over, always, taking whatever you want. And as long as you survive, you either lose or you win. It seems like it's just one of the two, and just wild, but definitely worth checking out. It was a good movie, The Last Duel. And what I took away from that is, again, interpretation. It's almost like when someone is lying about something and they're so convinced in their own shit that maybe they're right, or they're so convinced, or they've told themselves a different story than what actually happened. Everybody says there's two sides to every story, but there really isn't. There's the truth. There's the truth, and then there's the quote-unquote story, which is open to interpretation. Putting myself into that position in the knighthood, I must live in the castle, this big, beautiful brick castle off the shores of England, cold, brisk breeze blowing through the halls on this morning as I get ready for battle. Losing is not an option. Losing means death. You lose, you die. We're not fucking losing. So every day I get up as a knight, I'm thinking like, whose life must I take today? And that's why I feel like I compare that a lot to cannabis. Cannabis is full of challenges every single day. Growing tests so many different things, from your emotions to second guessing yourself to self-doubt, wondering if you're going to be good enough, all these different things. And that's why I feel like I'm always comparing battle and getting ready and stuff to this, because this industry is so wild, from relationships to how people act to just always getting shit on by the government and different people taking different things from you, and credit card processing canceling you, PayPal taking your money. I mean, it's just all this crazy shit that happens every day that people don't experience unless they're in this industry. And every time I get kind of weird about it, or I'm feeling defeated, or all the different emotions that we have as humans, I just constantly go back to the whole Viking era, the whole Knights of the Round Table, and just think about how hard they had it and how every day is a battle, and that's what we're going through. So, but could you imagine getting ready, getting your horse ready, steam blowing from his nose because it's so cold out? It's taken you an hour to get all your armor on. Your dukes have tied you up and laced your satchels and straightened your chain. And now you're moving around as all this metal is clanking. Barely being able to move through all this, and yet you're supposed to yield a sword and kill, pillage, defend. At any moment, some colony or some other foreign enemy just shows up at the doors, beating on your kingdom, and all they want to do is kill. They want to destroy every person in that village. We go through that every day, pretty much, growing cannabis. Any day there can be a problem. Your mind has to be so powerful. You can't take defeat. About 6 years ago, we were coming to the end of a year, and I just got into commercial cultivation, what I consider commercial, more than just you being able to do what you do. A lot of work, commercial cannabis. You can't do commercial on your own. Commercial takes a team. And I had one guy left, and, we're winding down the year, and he's helping me. And I head to the spot, and I get there, and he's gone. He's not there. My dog's there. Bart, R.I.P. And there's a fucking note. And this guy's like, I'm done. I'm not working here anymore. I took off. And it was such a shock to me that like I had a fucking meltdown in that moment where I was like, I almost didn't know what to do. Like I got there and I read this note, and thank God Bart was there. Bart always seemed to get me through everything. Like right when I was about to lose it mentally, he somehow always pulled me through unbeknownst to him. And I just remember like having that meltdown and thinking to myself like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to make it through this, pussy bullshit moment I was having, and starting to fucking fully unwound basically. And this voice just like shook me all of a sudden. It was like, get your fucking shit together. Like you've created all this. You are the reason this is here. You are the reason for this facility. You are the reason the lights are on. You are the reason this person had a job. Fuck this person. You don't want them here. They don't want to be a part of it. You don't need them. But you be goddamned if you're not going to make this shit happen yourself. So I pulled myself together, took a deep breath, assessed the entire situation of what needed to happen, and I went down the list and I started taking care of it. And I worked a 14-hour day or whatever it was that day, and it made me realize, like, yeah, you do have it. You are the reason for all this. You've created it. People are going to come and go in your life all the fucking time. And the majority of them are probably going to tell you the reason for your success is because of them. Notorious. I'm sure every one of you out there has been through it. You have to cut ties, and unfortunately, the majority of the time when you're cutting ties, someone's feelings are going to get hurt. Either the person you're letting go is angry with you, they don't know why they're being let go, they've told themselves something else in their mind, because that's what happens. We all know right from wrong. We know when we're doing a good job. We know when we're not doing a good job. So when you do a shitty job and then you get fired for that, and you're thinking to yourself, like, why am I getting fired? You're fucking blind. You're getting fired because of your shitty performance, or in very rare situations, intimidation. They're intimidated by what you know or what you can possibly do. That happens with a lot of companies where they'll try to push NDAs on you. The whole non-compete, scary. I know everyone's really excited about their new job and getting this position, and you're in the honeymoon phase. But you guys got to be very, very careful of what you sign and what you agree upon. Because if you take a position and you sign a contract that it's a non-compete contract and you can't work in that industry for 3 years after you've taken a position, you're fucked. Nobody wins when it comes to the courts and lawyers. The only person that wins are the lawyers. Something to really, really think about. You think a fucking knight is putting on his shining armor and putting his polished sword back in his sheath and thinking that I'm going to fucking die today? That I'm not strong enough to swing my hardened steel, to plunge into the gut of the enemy? Fuck no. Mentality wins everything. If you can get up with that mentality, that no surrender, I'm going to win by any means necessary. That's what you need to do. The mind is so powerful because the mind can destroy you in a fucking moment's notice. Your chick dumps you and you think your fucking life's over. How am I going to fucking survive without this person? It's really fucking easy. It's your fucking emotional state. It's your mind playing tricks on you. Why do they always say, my mind's playing tricks on me? Because it fucks you up. Makes you think things that aren't real. I try to every day, I'm going to get in that fucking Viking mentality, that knight, the knight's oath. I'm going to take that oath every fucking morning, or I'm going to do whatever is necessary to win, whatever is necessary to accomplish my goals. No fucking surrender. My whole team can walk out on me. I'm the fucking truth. Leave. There's the door. I'm going to continue on this mission. I'm going to continue to pillage, to raid, to collect bounties, collect heads, scalps. If you can season yourself and get your mind right before anything. And as I'm saying this, like I'm thinking to myself, like, man, even I still make mistakes. I've had fucking like 3 meltdowns today trying to get my fucking credit card processing situation taken care of. And now when I think about it in hindsight, it's like, man, that's some pussy shit. I need to be more focused. I can't lose. I can't make these mistakes. If we can season our mind, though, not to surrender to those weak thoughts, like even in the aftermath now, sitting here talking about this, like I'm disappointed in my reaction, disappointed in the way that I acted and how frustrated I was and angry that my processing got canceled. Like in hindsight, it's so minute and childish. Like why does something like that gain energy over me? Why can't I be strong enough to see that? So in these moments, as things come to you and problems show up, and if we can just think about it in a moment and not react, normally instant reactions are never the best, whether it's fucking out of anger, sadness, despair. Let's just think about it for a minute. Let's analyze the problem, the situation, whatever is in front of us, because there's always an outcome. We're not going to fucking die. We're not getting pelted with a million flaming arrows. Let's think about that and process that situation, whatever it is. Come from a clear head. You know, it's like when you walk into a room, if you have a light out, instead of just freaking out and fucking panicking and, you know, poor me and all that shit, just fix it. Be in the mentality of everything's going to fail. It's not a matter of if it's going to fail, it's when. Everything's going to fail at some point. Our vehicles, our relationships, things we put in place, life, our bodies, failure. How do we embrace failure? And not embrace it where it's like, let's just go out and fucking fail. Embrace it so we can overcome it. The failure isn't what's holding us in the moment. It's how we're overcoming it. And so for me, I like to compare everything to fucking Vikings and knighthood and fighting, because it's a fight to me. You know, it's whatever we're doing, it's overcoming that battle. Your shit's not working. That's a fucking sword fight. Pull your sword from its sheath. Grip tight in both hands. Where you're almost shaking, you're gripping it so hard. Time to conquer. Time to overcome. Time to win again. You're a fucking winner. What do? We win. We win. Even when we lose, we win. Because we learned something. Take that W. I got my ass kicked today. And I think about all that wasted energy that I used in frustration or anger. And now, after the fact, seeing it and processing that, I want to make sure that doesn't happen again. But I'm not going to be too hard on myself. I'm just going to try to take those lessons. Every day I'm learning stuff. Every day I'm learning to, you know, be a better friend, be a better husband, be better communication. Can never be good enough at that. You know, we see all these people online, and just online makes everything seem like a win. What if we never showed any of our wins and we only showed our L's? How fucking normal would you feel? Embrace the failure. So that's the big thing, embracing the failure. You know, instead of I used to come from just a super frustrated thing. Why me? Why am I dealing with this? Fuck it. Embrace it. Great. This is a test, a puzzle. Do we really want everything so fucking easy? Do you know how much we wouldn't appreciate things if everything was easy for us? If we could all just be fucking millionaires? Why does that fucking scummy looking guy that treats people like shit so better off in life than I am? What do you even mean by that? How do you know that he's not miserable inside? I'm fucking happy. I wouldn't change anything about my life. I was thinking about that the other day. I was looking around and just processing everything, and I wouldn't change one thing about my life. There's lots of things that I want, but I wouldn't change anything. I'm right here, right now. Wouldn't change a thing. Wouldn't change all those L's. Wouldn't change getting all fucked up, robbed, pistol whipped, all that bullshit, theft, all the money I've lost, the gardens that have gone down. Fuck it. I'm right where I need to be right now, mentally. I could be better. I can be stronger, but that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on being great, and not great to someone else or what they interpret as great, but like to myself. And that's what you need to remember. Stop worrying about what other people think about you. It doesn't matter. We all know right from wrong. It's embedded in us just like sword fighting and everything else. We know right from wrong. Just do right and get better. That's simple. So here I am left alone on the battlefield. My company just deserted me. They were intimidated by the opponent being the job in front of us. They were scared. They had no self-worth, so they fucking abandoned me on the war field. Bodies all over. Blood dripping from the blade. And I see the enemy in front of me. I look behind and they're gone. The rest of my battalion left. My own company has retreated, leaving me on the battlefield, standing there, two hands gripping my sword. There's two ways you can think right now. You can think you're going to fucking die, or you can think that you're going to survive. I'm a survivor. You're a survivor. Whether you realize it or not, you have the strength within you to overcome. My mentality is overcome by any means necessary. I silenced that fearful voice inside of me, and I started taking the necessary steps to overcome this evil force, one by one, slicing, stabbing, piercing, killing these thoughts, this fake voice that infiltrated my brain, this weakness, this cancer that spreads like darkness throughout your brain, through your mind. As powerful as your mind is, it's fucking scary. Do some fucking acid sometimes and you can see where your mind goes. If you're not mentally prepared, it can go into a dark place. That's your mind. Your mind can make you think things. With all that being said, your mind is your most powerful asset. Your mind is what carries you through big victories. Your mind can make you believe you can do things. And when you believe those things, it's like manifesting. You can make it happen. So in that situation, that vulnerable state I was in, my mind kicked in, made me realize, look what you've created. Look what you have here. You can go get other soldiers. You can teach other people how to be a sword wielder, how to sword fight. We can get another crew. In fact, it'd be a blessing to anyone that gets to stand next to me in battle. Look around you. Look at your world. Look at what you have. Even if you don't have shit yet, you can. And that's how I feel now. And, some people will confuse that with arrogance, and this guy's full of himself. But honestly, the way that I look at it now is like anybody that works with me is lucky, because I put it out there like not a lot of people I've met. Maybe 5% of the world goes as hard as certain people. The fucking banker doesn't go as hard as me. I know for a fact 97% of the phone book doesn't go as hard as me. There's people out there that go harder, no doubt about it, but it's slim and it's rare. So with that being said, I have that mindset of like whoever gets to work with me, whoever I ask, it's a privilege that I'm going to share all of my things with them, everything that I've learned throughout the years. You think about that, like the people that get to work with me, like I'm going to take care of them, my customers. And not only that, but all those people have chosen to work with me or buy from me or to have me help them. That's a great privilege to me. I want to deliver. I want to share with them like no one else has before. I want to give them an experience. I want them to never forget my name. I want them years down the road to tell their friends and family, man, I remember this guy, Craft Farmer, who fucking put me on, and it was exciting and he made it fun. We're here for a very short time. Life has to be fun. We have to make it fun. We have to enjoy it. Don't allow it to be miserable. Don't just do something because you're doing it. Do it because you want to do it. I want the challenge. I'm going to make the best out of this situation. And for me, most of the time that's fantasizing about fighting. And I don't want to fist fight. I don't want to go do MMA. I don't want to fucking punch people in the face. I don't want to get punched in the face. I just want to fantasize about it. That's it. I just want to fantasize about being in the battle, riding my steed down a hill. It's easy for me to get excited that way. You know, I want to do a deal with Grow Generation. I want to work with Grow Generation. If that's what I'm thinking in my mind, like I put myself in this fantasy of overcoming. How do you even do a deal with a company that large? How do you get attention on you? How do you make them realize like you're the right person for them? You can't just go in there with your fucking suit and tie and your binder piece of paper and be all square and read to them. That's not going to work. What are you going to do? What are you going to do for us? They ask. I'm going to take, I'm going to pillage, and I'm going to make sure everybody knows your name. Let's go. Try it. Fantasize. Put yourself in a situation. Make it exciting. We're cultivating. We're doing the same shit every fucking day over and over and over again for years. Do you know how draining that can be when you're just following the same thing over and over? You have to bring excitement. Create the excitement. You got your headphones on, it's skirt day. You got fucking 10 hours of skirting to do in a hot ass sweaty room. Pillage, fight, destroy the enemy. That's just my look on it. It makes it fun. It gets me excited. I'm fucking excited right now to finish this podcast episode and go pack fucking boxes. Go send people their orders. I'm like the blacksmith. I'm going to go stoke my fire, get my coals red hot, sweating because it's so hot in my little fucking blacksmith area. I've got knights and warriors reaching out to me from all over the world, trusting in me to sharpen their steel, trusting in me to build their weapons of choice for cultivation. What a privilege that is. What a privilege that they've decided to come to me instead of all their other millions of fucking options. So I'm going to pound that steel. I'm going to harden that steel. I'm going to sharpen that steel. I'm not going to cut any fucking corners. Someone's life is on the line. You need to hold yourself accountable. The job you're doing, there's someone's life on the line. If you make them some shitty dagger, some shitty sword that's just going to break when they swing it on their enemy, they're dead. Fucking dead. I've been chosen. They seeked me out. They know that there's lore throughout the lands of this amazing blacksmith, the finest weapon creator, Craft Farmer. So fucking go to craftfarmer.com right now. Get your drips, get your whip kits, get your manifold kit, get your sensors. Get fucking ready for battle. Because when you have something that I created, that I touched, I am there with you in fucking spirit, and there's nothing that you can't do, no problems you can't overcome. We fucking got this. Hit the music.